I love to start every gathering with a version, there are many, of Hine Matov U'Manayim. And it's a new way of gathering, but we're all still here. Hine Matov U'Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov U'Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov U'Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov U'Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov U'Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov U'Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad.
It is wonderful to get connected, even if it's using this virtual space and this virtual media to bring us together. And it's wonderful to be here with you, Chava, and with the members of Temple Emmanuel from the South Hills of Pittsburgh. We're so grateful you're joining us in this time of uncertainty. What are some of those things that give you hope right now? What are some of those things that keep you going through the news of the day?
Well, I feel like there's a contrast between this moment, like this moment in history, which feels really overwhelming and filled with unknown and lack of control. And with the moment meaning the exact moment, like one breath's length of a moment. And so I'm choosing to frame it as the circumstance versus the moment. And the circumstance is kind of out of my control, as is usually the case with a circumstance. I can choose how I want to approach it or how I want to respond to it, but I really can't choose what it is. And it keeps constantly changing, and I can't choose that either. But I can choose how I engage with the circumstance. And also I can choose how I engage with the present moment, which is just maybe taking a deep breath, or maybe noticing the way that the shadows change throughout the day with the light coming in, or maybe just noticing a sound coming in the window, maybe even a car going by. Just signs of existence and life. That's bringing me a lot of comfort, and that's how I'm able to access gratitude right now, just in the feeling of a moment, like a taste of food or one interaction with my kid. So that's what's getting me through the day.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know, I love your mention of shadows and the way light plays. It can be a good reminder not only that there are forces beyond ourselves, but that things are still working as they should. The sun still comes up each day. You know, as you well know, in our liturgical tradition, evening was an uncertain time, like the uncertain time that we're living in now, and playing on that shadows. The onset of evening caused our ancestors to write a little bit of liturgy for uncertain times, asking for God's shelter of protection. Right, our Hashkivenu prayer is one that gives me comfort, and it's one we try to sing to the kids each evening as they go to bed. Is that something you'd be willing to sing for us now?
Rabbi, I would sing anything for you. And Hashkivenu is a great choice. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom. Hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom. Hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Lechaim.
Chava, you also wrote a beautiful piece for another uncertain time, right? The month of Elul in preparation for the high holidays is nothing if not an existentially uncertain time. I absolutely love the setting for Achat Sha'alti you wrote, asking that if nothing else, we get to be in God's presence. Could you say a little bit more about that, about your inspiration, or why that was a liturgical piece you decided to play with?
Well, I learned about that text being a Sunday school teacher for decades. I didn't get much contact with Elul because it was during summer vacation. So most of my Jewish practice was through my work with the kids. And so I didn't really know about Achat Sha'alti or any of the Elul practices actually until I started doing this. I participated in a mindfulness congregation online on a Zoom call, just like this. And so I have a lot of comfort in this setting because of that. It's been years actually since I've been part of that group. And the rabbi, Jill Zimmerman, introduced us to the practices of Elul and Achat Sha'alti through the lens of mindfulness. And the mindfulness of learning the skill of sitting with what is, acceptance of the reality of our lives or of my life on a personal level. And it's a Buddhist practice as well called Vipassana. So it's an ancient spiritual practice of learning how to sit with what is instead of all of the things that we do to try to escape from what is, like even just thought processes of trying to figure out what to do is a way of escaping from just sitting with and processing the reality and all of the emotions of what is at the moment. So that's been a practice of mine for a few years now, and this song is kind of my personal anthem of the practice that I'm trying to do of sitting with what is. And this seems like a really good time that those skills are coming in to use, because this is a very difficult moment and the realities are just, even not knowing the realities is disappointing, and to be able to sit with that, it feels really valuable right now.
That's wonderful. Right. It is as if it were written for right now, in addition to that time in our liturgical lives each and every year.
This is like the Elul of history right here. Some of my friends say this is like the dark night of the soul in the story, in the spiritual journey kind of paradigm. that this is like the dark night of the soul in a person's spiritual journey, but for the whole world. And that in a spiritual journey paradigm is a time to find our strength and find out what really gets us through and what really can take us to the other side. So it seems like a cool opportunity, if nothing else.
Wow, absolutely.
Achat sha'alti meit Adonai. Achat sha'alti otav akesh. Achat sha'alti meit havaya. Achat sha'alti otav akesh. Shivti, shivti, beved Adonai. Shivti, shivti, kol yemei chayai. Shivti, shivti, beved Havaya. Shivti, shivti, kol yemei chayai. V'chazot b'noam Adonai. Uvaker v'hechalot. V'chazot b'noam havaya. To gaze upon the beauty of Shekhinah. One thing, I ask you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life. Achat sha'alti meit havaya. Achat sha'alti otav akesh.
You're a much needed salve for souls at this time. You know, it's wonderful to get to hear this setting of liturgy, your Achad Sha'alti. We haven't known each other all that long, but I've seen since you first wrote this kind of an expansion of God language, or an expansion of what God could be in the way you sing the song. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We could use a little bit of that God in our lives, however we understand God, whether it is a source of comfort, a source of support, a source of healing. I think we're up over 9,000 cases in the United States, many, many more in this world in which we live. How well we recognize that the proverbial butterfly effect really is true. It's not only a butterfly flapping its wings half a world away that can cause storms. It's a person sneezing half a world away that can cause the crash of global financial markets. Reminds us that we're truly all in this together. And so as we ask God's blessing on us and our blessing upon those who are ill, we think not only of those in our communities, those who are most affected, proximate to us, but those this world over who are in need of those prayers for healing at this time. It's an interesting time.
You know, I'm thinking about our need for healing, not just on a physical level, but also just the healing of the trauma that's occurring right now in our emotional lives. trauma as defined by the medical community is when the experience, it comes on as too much too fast. And so just even not knowing what's going to happen and having all the information changing so fast, it's like a trauma for each of us. And so this is a really important time to do self-care. And so I welcome everyone to just place a hand on your own heart or on your arm, or just to bring yourself a sense of comfort and companionship, because it's so isolating to be separated like this, but we always have access to the comfort of our own presence and witnessing our own experience. So as we sing the prayer for healing, Misha Berach, written by Debbie Friedman and Drora Settle, we are given the opportunity to bring ourselves a momentary little piece of comfort and healing as well. And let's bring to mind the names of those in our lives, in our communities, and in our global community who are in need of healing. If we don't know the names of the people, we can also just think of all of those who need healing. And please feel free to sing with me. Yisheberach Avoteinu Makor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yisheberach imotenu Makor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
May it be so. As a teaser to our time together, I posted on Temple's Facebook page a video that you recorded recently, a version of Ken Yehi Ratzon that I know a friend and fellow musician wrote. And you were sharing with me that it was part of a gratitude or mindfulness practice. Could you say a
Yes.
little bit more about how it's connected?
Yes. So I had mentioned earlier in this call that the practice of sitting with what is in Buddhist practice is called Vipassana. And I'm not an expert on these practices by any stretch, but I'm just fascinated by any spiritual practice. And so that I'm like, obsessed. So another Buddhist practice is called metta. And it goes a step further beyond just acceptance, full acceptance of what is. It goes to try to cultivate a sense of loving kindness for ourselves, for other people in our lives, and for the whole world. And it's a really cool practice. And my friend Alana Arian wrote a song using it, and it's brilliant. And she used the customary prayer response, Ken Yehi Ratzon, which is what we say during the Birkat Kohanim, the priestly blessings, and anything that's not like a Baruch Atah Adonai, you would say Amen at the end, but this is a Ken Yehi Ratzon response. So anyway, if you hear the may I be, Ken Yehi Ratzon is often a good response to that. And so she wrote that into the song. And so we're going to start by wishing and offering ourselves loving kindness by just these few phrases that in the metta practice are repeated over and over again as a mantra. And I'm just going to sing each verse one time. And then I'm going to, in the song, invite us to offer loving kindness around the circle. So again, if you feel comfortable putting your hand on your heart or putting your hand, giving yourself a hug, I often do this. There's another way with these calls. You can also look at your eyes, look at yourself in the eye, and just give a loving glance to yourself as you hear these words. And sing this silently or out loud to yourself. May I be safe. May I be free. May I find space to just be. Can you hear Ratzon? Can you hear Ratzon? May I find my way back home. Can you hear Ratzon? Can you hear Ratzon? May I find my way back home. We call to mind someone who is dear to us. Could be a friend, a teacher, or anyone who brings us happiness. Someone in our lives that we can spend time with, or someone that we can only call and talk to over FaceTime. Bring that person to mind and open up our hearts, and we offer to them this blessing. May you be safe. May you be free. May you find space to just be. Can you hear Ratzon? Can you hear Ratzon? May you find your way back home. Can you hear Ratzon? Can you hear Ratzon? May you find your way back home. We call to mind our community, all the support and encouragement that we find here with each other. We look at each other's faces and see all the love that we still have access to in this world. And we're sending out healing to the whole global community. We open up our hearts and we offer the world this blessing. May we be safe. May we be safe. May we be free. May we be free. May we find space. May we find space to just be. Can you hear Ratzon? Can you hear Ratzon? Can you hear Ratzon? May we find our way back home. Can you hear Ratzon? Can you hear Ratzon? May we find our way back home.
May it be so. Can you hear Ratzon? It's a beautiful setting.
It's a good practice to learn how to offer ourselves loving kindness.
That's right. You know, we're getting to spend a bit more time with ourselves than perhaps is comfortable. We're so used to running around in a frantic world, and now we're forced to stop and to slow down and reflect. It's not an easy thing for many of us to do when we're used to flying at 100 miles an hour. It's an important reminder. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perhaps one final song, although if you're willing to humor those who are joining us on this Zoom call, if there are any requests afterwards, now's the time to be thinking about it. You know, the sense of shalom that we could all need we're familiar with, right? Shalom means peace, it means hello, it means goodbye, but it also has a tie, it seems, to shalem, to completeness, to wholeness, to something we could all use in this world. Oh, say shalom, words we close the mourner's cottage with at a time we're feeling down, words we use to open up some of our life cycle rituals at a time where we're feeling up throughout our lives, that sense of peace, and a reminder that this too eventually will pass.
From your mouth to God's ears, Rabbi.
Amen, amen.
And it's such a great opportunity to get together and join our voices in a prayer for shalom, because we're always more powerful together. And so even separated by walls, we're still together in spirit. Ose shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, ve'imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Chava Mirel, I'm so grateful to you for joining us in this virtual space, bringing your voice, bringing your warmth, bringing your musicality to brighten up what can feel like dark days. Those who are joining us on this Zoom call, everyone has songs they want to hear at this time. I guess I used a little bit of rabbinic privilege to already get to hear some of those songs that were on my heart. But if there's a song on your heart, now would be a great time to unmute yourself or to use the chat box if you are comfortable doing so. This is a wonderful opportunity to get someone, well, as in person as we can. That would be a great thing to take advantage of. Anything you want to hear? I see that we have a wonderful collection of both Seattleites and Pittsburghians, folks from Pittsburgh here with us, which is a wonderful thing. Whimsy turns it back to you, and I guess that's a great question to ask. You've got to hear what I was interested in. Is there something, Chava, that brings you comfort right now? Is there a particular melody that you're finding solace in?
There are so many. And first of all, I just want to ask, is the sound okay? It's very different playing the guitar and singing on this setting, and if I could adjust it anyway to make it better, I will.
You sound amazing. Your guitar is coming through a little bit, I don't know, tinny perhaps?
Yeah.
You know me just as well as anyone on this call. I'm the wrong person to be asking for how things sound, but your voice
Yeah,
is
so
clear.
there's a compression feature on the Zoom technology that compresses the sound, and so it just like closes off the tone. And so I'm trying to play and sing as quietly as possible because it is even way worse when it's loud.
Sure.
But yeah, well, knowing that the guitar doesn't sound great makes me want to do a song without the guitar. But, you know, I also have a desire to sing this song that was inspired by you, Rabbi. You wrote me an email one time, and I read the email and spontaneously like wrote a song at that moment, and that song has evolved since. And so it is the song that brings me the most comfort right now. So I'll try it on the guitar, and keep in mind that it doesn't usually sound this tinny. And if you want to check it out, I released an album called Source of Love that contains this song as well as other songs that I wrote, including a Hasha Alti. So you could hear the actual version, but I'm going to sing it anyway because this is dedicated to my rabbi, Rabbi Meyer of Pittsburgh. La, 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 blessed love, holy love, sacred love, abundant love, source of love, let your love shine down on me. From below, from above, love, I hope I'm worthy of, oh source of love, let your love shine down on me. Before the morning light, I already feel it shining. Before I open up my eyes, I already see it shining. When my road is rough, I can feel your love, and that's enough for me. Blessed love, holy love, sacred love, abundant love, source of love, let your love shine down on me. As above, so below, love from whom all blessings flow, source of love, let your love shine down on me. On me and the ones I love, shine from below and from above. Protect my family and be a light in me. Shine on me and the ones I love, shine from below and from above. Protect my family and shine through me. Be a light in me. Be a light in me. La, 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 la.
Beautiful. You honor me and you honor us. Thank you so much for joining us in this space, lifting up hearts and souls as we navigate what is a trying time.
Thank you so much for welcoming me. I really appreciate this opportunity to connect with community.
Wonderful. Chava, thank you. My love to your family, your immediate family, my love to your parents. Great to see you. I miss you guys, and I very much look forward to the next time we get to see one another, be it virtually or God willing in person soon.
Same.